Chicago area code pink, and my story is nothing like what these two fine men have. I am not a veteran. I am a peace activist. And if you're not aware what Code Pink is, I'm also not a public speaker, so I had to make copious notes, so I apologize. We are a women-initiated grassroots and social justice movement working to end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya, to stop new wars, which we obviously haven't been very good at, and to redirect our resources into healthcare, education, green jobs, and other life-affirming activities. The name Code Pink is a play off of the Bush administration's color-coded Homeland Security alert. You know, we had a code red and a code orange. And it was all based on fear, on instilling fear in the American public. And before the Iraq War, some women activists who've been activists most of their lives had a vigil in front of the White House and said, you know, enough with this fear. You know, this isn't what we want to do. This is not how we want our children to be raised. So, you know, in talking, and probably a couple bottles of Chardonnay, they decided that pink, which is actually a very powerful color, although people don't realize it, so they were going to be Code Pink. And we do direct action, we do street theater, we do not belong to a political party. We are solely working for peace and social justice. You may have heard about us. We're the people that have interrupted congressional hearings. We have confronted every leader from George Bush and people in his administration to the current president and people in his administration to bring money back home, to get vets the care that they need and deserve, to stop the destruction that's happening. I also want to mention Code Pink is not exclusively women. We love men. We love men who love men. We love men who love women. But it's women initiated. And let me tell you a little bit about our chapter. We're a local chapter here in the Chicago area. We go from Indiana all the way up to Wisconsin. And we're all volunteers. We do this because we feel the need to bring the message out. And part of our messaging is, you know, since this whole topic is the language of war, part of our messaging is that. And we use direct action. For example, if you get fired from your job, it's called that you got the pink slip. Because apparently at some point, termination notices came on pink slips. So we decided that the former administration needed to be fired. So we thought, well, okay, pink slip, but oh no, not just a regular piece of paper. We had a 3-foot-high pink slip that you wear like underneath your dress. And we brought that everywhere we went. You know, we talk about dirty laundry. What's your dirty laundry? You know, what are your dirty secrets? Well, we strung a clothesline in front of some congressional offices, and we had pink slips hanging from it. Like, again, like the kind that you wear underneath your clothes, with with all of what we consider to be lies that were given. We had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That's why we were there, right? Al-Qaeda was in Afghanistan. That's why we were there. We had to protect our country. That's why we were there. I have yet to understand how that is making us safer here. How those folks that are serving and dying and getting maimed physically and emotionally for the rest of their lives, how what they're doing there is making us safer here. But again, that's what we're told. After September 11th, 2001, probably one of the first times that Congress all came together and stood on the steps of the Capitol and said, God bless America. And that fervor allowed the president to basically go to war without congressional approval. But it wasn't called that. It was called, it was Homeland Security. We had to protect ourselves. So, anyway, women peace activists are not a new phenomenon. As you probably know, Mother's Day was started by Julia Ward Howe, not necessarily as a way to honor mothers, but as an anti-war, pro-peace statement. And that sort of has gotten lost over the years. And you can read her declaration of peace online anywhere. And although women aren't in combat, they're affected by war, whether you're the country that's being invaded, or whether you live in the country that's doing the invading, or whether you're in the military. And women in the military are driven by the same language as men are: duty, honor, service. How do I know that? Not because I did that, but because I've talked to a lot of women who are veterans, and a lot of men who are veterans. And the question that they ask is, duty to whom, honor for what, and service to whom? And why are these words always associated with war and serving in the military? See, we believe that duty, honor, and service can be accomplished in peacetime as well as in war. So we have to change people's minds, which is really difficult to do. And we have to change the syntax of those words. And the war language is so prominent in our society. Now, sports figures are called warriors. Please, seriously. High schools, as Anthony was saying, they have military recruiters walking around the halls. And Chicago Public Schools are the most highly militarized school district in the country. And the person who is now the United States Secretary of Education was head of the Chicago School District when this happened. We have each branch of the military has either a complete high school or a portion of the high school designated solely for them. Uniforms, now you don't carry guns. Uniforms, the whole 9 yards. Discipline, marching, the whole 9 yards. I'm sure Anthony can speak to that. I don't know, some of you may be my age, but we used to put on war paint as our makeup before we went out to clubs. So these words about war and oppression and victory and all of that are so tied in our language that it's difficult to have people see or even understand what they're saying about that. There are some women who are in the military who want to go into combat. And again, I ask my friends, and they say, well, it's for career advancement. Because if you're not in combat, it's harder to climb up the military ladder. And that I can understand, because if you see it as a job, although that's the other thing, you know, your job when you go into the military, I don't care if you're you want to be an engineer or you want to be an aircraft mechanic, essentially, you're going to go to boot camp, you're going to get a gun, and at some point your job is going to be killed. So they want to be in combat for career advancement. And then they buy into the whole brotherhood idea. And as Anthony said, sexual harassment and sexual assault and rape in the military is off the charts. And then they want to be seen as equals. And it's very difficult for civilians to combat this. Oh, sorry, no pun intended. It's very difficult for civilians to try to understand and try to maybe have a discussion that, you know, you don't want to kill somebody. I look forward to the day when recruiters to be diplomats in the State Department are as prevalent as recruiters for the military. I look forward to the day when our troops come home and get the support and care they need and deserve. And most importantly, I look forward to the day when the language of war is replaced by the language of peace. Thanks.
Thank you.